Hello everyone, my name is Loko and welcome to some more StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Now today I want to be going over a new sort of build that I've been trying to make work in Zerg vs Zerg. Now recently I've actually been playing a bunch of Heart of the Swarm once again. For those of you that have been watching the live stream, you will be aware of this. Mainly for the reason that there is currently no ranked ladder in Legacy of the Void, and I really was feeling like playing some ranked ladder. Doesn't really matter though. Yesterday I decided to switch back to Legacy of the Void, and basically, I've been having this idea in my head because I died to it a couple of times myself. So, in the past I made a video explaining how the current meta of Zerg vs Zerg has sort of stabilized to be the standard Roach vs Roach strategy. And that seems to be true for the most part right now as well. However, I've been trying to make this new build, or this quote-unquote new build work. And before we go over why it's so difficult to make work and, you know, how we can try and execute it a little bit better, I'm gonna try and explain the theory behind it. So, the basic idea of this build is that Roaches get absolutely demolished by Lurkers. Lurkers do a lot of damage to Roaches. I think it is 35 in total. It basically means that if you get like 3 Lurkers out, you can beat like 20 Roaches, okay? That is the basic concept behind this build. The only problem is that getting out Lurkers takes a long time and it is very expensive. So, instead of like wasting all of our gas on making a lot of Roaches and trying to slowly but surely tack up to the point where Lurkers are actually viable, I've been going for a double Zergling upgraded style. So for double upgraded Zerglings into a lair, and then into a Hydra den, and then into a Lurker den. Now there's a couple of really funny moments that happened with this deck. First off, we are gonna have to play very aggressive because else we will just simply die to the Roach timing attack. And with the Roach timing attack, I mean the +1/+1 Roach speed timing push. Because, you know, when that one happens, you will basically, like, whatever happens, you will not be able to get Lurkers out before that timing attack hits you in the face. So we're gonna have to play super aggressive early on with Zerglings, go for the double upgrades to make sure that we can actually take out Roaches reasonably well, and then survive until the part where we have Lurkers out. Now there's a funny moment as well where your opponent is going for Roach Lurker, which is a little bit slower than Zergling Lurker. However, you can absolutely not attack Lurkers with Zerglings. So I'm just, you know, if we just go a little bit on the thought process right here. By the way, I'm going for the double upgrades very early on. As you can see, Zergling speed first, and then we're going for the double upgrades right away. But if you go for a bit of a thought process right here, we're in the middle part of the game. I'm going for Zergling Lurker. My opponent is going for Roach Lurker. He's going to have a substantial advantage at that point. The only thing, though, that is still going in our favor at that moment is that we have the potential to upgrade to a Hive, get the Adrenal Glands upgrade, which now adds 40% attack speed, but most importantly, we can go for Ultralisks. And Ultralisks give you a sort of counter, like a temporary counter to Lurkers as well. So anyways, in this specific game, my opponent is gonna go for Roaches, and he's gonna go for Lurkers, and I'm gonna go for Zerglings early on with double upgrades. Then I'm gonna transition towards Lurkers with Zerglings in the middle part of the game, and then eventually I wanna try and get Ultralisk out to counter my opponent's Lurkers. So hopefully I made my thought process a little clear right there. If you have any questions about it, leave it down below in the comment section. So my basic plan right here is to saturate my bases as fast as possible, get the double upgrades going very early on. As you can see, I already got them going, while my Zergling speed is still researching as well. And basically play super aggressive after hitting that max saturation. And like I said, the reason for the super aggressive play is to try and keep my opponent back. Right now, I'm scouting around right here, and I notice, okay, there's a spine crawler, or there's a spine crawler going down right there. There's an evolution chamber going down right there, and there's a Roach warner. So right now, I know, okay, it is going to be, you know, a Roach timing attack or some sort of Roach focus play. So this is like the perfect game to actually give this a try. Now the nice thing that Zerglings give you, obviously, is a lot of mobility. And instead of like facing his army head on, which is definitely an option while the +1/+1 is still researching, or when the +1/+1 is done, but while the +1/+1 is still researching, you can actually go for some very aggressive run-bys as well. So there's a lot of cool dynamics that seem to be working relatively well. Now, I'll be honest, I've not seen any professional players play anything similar like this, so I'm sure there's still room for improvement, but it works really well. It worked really well. Ever since trying this, I've been losing a couple of games, but very, very, very closely. So I think if I nail down the gas timings a little bit better, and learn the moments where I need to make Zerglings and drones, and, you know, actually get the fine little gritty details out, I think this may actually be a very viable option. So there we go, I already got the lair done. Gotta go for the Hydra den. And at this point, I'm gonna make completely only Zerglings. And the reason for that is, well, these upgrades just finished up, or this one is just about to finish up, which is +1/+1. The reason why we want +1/+1 is to, first off, kill Roaches faster, but also to make sure that the Roaches kill us less fast. So usually if a Roach gets +1 attack, they will be able to 2-shot Zerglings instead of 3-shot. With the +1 armor, you will be able to basically stay alive for a little longer. Now right here, my opponent hasn't realized yet that these are upgraded Zerglings, and right now he must have clicked on one because he's running like mad. He's a little worried, and I'm just trying to make non-stop Zerglings. My opponent's still playing a super standard style as well, getting the Hydra Den going as well already, so I know he has a chance of switching to Lurkers, but I'm just gonna be attacking right here. Keep in mind, the goal of this aggression that I'm doing is not so much to kill my opponent, which may happen, you know, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it's mostly just to keep him back and to force him to not move out himself. If he would go for the super standard +1/+1 Roach speed timing attack, I will have a very hard time to do anything. Now, I will obviously get pushed back here at some point. If you take a quick look at the amount of workers killed, very bad target firing on my part. As you can see, there's massive amounts of improvement right there. I only killed 6 workers, which could have been much worse, or could have been much, much better. But at the very least, I've secured the place where I can go up for a Lurker Den. Now, in this specific game, I'm actually a little late on it. I had the Hydra Den going a little late, I had the Lurk going a little late, and the Morphin took a little longer as well than previously anticipated. But most importantly, I am still alive. I am researching +2/+2, which I'm hoping to finish up before my opponent amasses a big army. And in the meantime, I'm gonna already start my infestation pit, because I saw that my opponent went for a Hydra Den, and therefore, you know, has the option to go for Lurkers. Now, as you can see, this becomes a weird dynamic. Because we are both capable of making the same units, but because we both chose to go for different upgrades, it becomes a really interesting dynamic. I know for a fact that if I get Ultralisk out, I will be able to absolutely steamroll him right here. The only problem obviously being is that getting Ultralisk out first off takes a lot of money, and it takes a lot of time as well, secondly. So I'm trying to drone up the third base a little bit right here, but I gotta be very careful. Morphing in a couple of Hydras as well, making sure that the Hydras are gonna be there to be morphed into the Lurkers, and I'm just gonna be running around right here. Now, I'm gonna have to be careful. Obviously, if there's a big army, I don't really want to engage that. No need to engage that, especially right before +2/+2 is done. But most importantly, I'm gonna be able to morph in my Lurkers. So I got 5 Lurkers coming my way right now. And at the same time, I will be able to start up a lot of drones. At this moment, I know that I am safe and secure. If my opponent decides to move out, I will be able to hold it easily. And in fact, I'm actually gonna try and go for a little bit of aggression. I'm gonna try and actually tack up towards the hive, you know, drone up that third base that I got, and in the meantime put a little bit of pressure on my opponent. Now, knowing that there are, you know, Lurkers on the board very shortly for him as well, I gotta be very careful here. And this is actually a good example why I'm still testing this out, because I just found out how incredibly powerful Lurkers are against Zerglings. Like, it's pretty insane. Only if Zerglings get +3 attack, and he has never upgraded the the Lurkers at all, he will be able to 3-shot them. But right now, you know, the Lurkers will basically 2-shot the Zerglings that I got, and obviously they deal a crazy amount of splash damage. So I believe I'll run up this ramp right here. Rookie mistake, never do this. The Zerglings just die, and actually I make a pretty big misclick right there as well on the gas geyser, so I'm gonna have to run back home. Now keep in mind that in the meantime, I've been droning up. Oh, where is it? Oh, it's right here. I've been droning up this base, and I have also been going up for a hive. So while this aggression was going on, and while that aggression definitely wasn't something I was looking for, I still managed to establish a superior economy. So right now it's 56 harvests versus 41, and that's just because, well, first off, my opponent is confused about what I'm doing. Most likely, so he's a little scared of drawing up, but mostly because, you know, he was forced to make defensive units because I was going for a lot of aggression. So right here, I start saving up. I want to go for the Adrenal Glands upgrade, for the Ultralisk Cavern, and for the +3 attack and the +3 armor. I'm going for the armor first, just to make sure that I can take another hit from the Lurkers, but this is where the scary moment really arrives. So I see that my opponent is moving out across the map, and while I do have a sizable army, you know, I got some reasonable amount of units, I also know that he likely hasn't been drawing up his third base, so there's a big chance that his army will be enormous. There's a big chance that I won't be able to take that out. Now here's where the counterattacks come in. I don't want to be facing this army head on, because I know for a fact that I'm not going to be able to. Like, if I face this army head on, the Lurkers will absolutely decimate me, so instead I'm going for the counterattacks. I'm trying to basically buy myself some time to get the Ultralisk out. Ultralisk are gonna be able to tank the damage of the Lurkers relatively well, unless there's like massive amounts of numbers, but I just need to buy a lot of time in order for that to work. So I'm gonna send Zerglings towards his third, I'm gonna send Zerglings towards his main, and now that I know that my opponent went home, I feel a lot safer. Got my first 3 Ultralisks in production. They do take a very long time to complete, but I'm target firing down my opponent's 3rd base, killed a couple of the drones that were mining over there, and eventually I will be able to clean this one up. And I'm just buying time. This was only meant for buying time. I wasn't meant to actually kill a base there, but if I manage to, I will obviously take it. So Ultralisk on the production tab, very importantly, also going for the chitinous plating right now, which still is another 50 seconds right there remaining before that one will finish up. Chitinous plating will now give +4 armor instead of +2 armor, which we have in Heart of the Swarm. So I will actually be able to survive quite a bunch longer when that upgrade finishes up, but there's still a very big army for my opponent. I'm trying to sit back here, I'm trying to buy time, and apparently it once again has bugged out in the replay right here, where they look like, I don't know, looks like they're sliding on like a skateboard or something like that. The animation doesn't work in the replays, but I'm just trying to stay alive right now. +3/+3, Ultralisk, chitinous plating, everything is just about to finish up, but my opponent is right at my doorstep. Once again, trying to basically surround him from the back right here, buy as much time as I possibly can, because I want at the very least my chitinous plating upgrade to finish up, which is very, very shortly, making as much army as possible, but I'm forced to move in right now. So that Ultralisk right there is actually fighting. You can see the amount of damage that Lurkers do is pretty insane still, but as long as I manage to hold on or get my Ultralisk into the fight, I will easily take this one right now. And my opponent, you know, he does decide to stand right here. Those Ultralisks look so funny, but my opponent does decide to stand right here, and with my reinforcing Ultralisk, and yes, I said reinforcing Ultralisk, I will be able to take this, because the Zerglings, as you can see, get absolutely decimated because of the Lurkers. So my opponent decides to GG out at this point, after taking his massive army and knowing that I got the 3rd base. So, pretty fun game right here, all in all. I was actually very excited for playing this one. I'm not sure if this is gonna be a super viable strategy, but at least in theory, it makes perfect sense. Lurkers counter Roaches, you know, the Ultras counter Lurkers. And because you already upgrade the melee upgrades from early on into the game, there should be a very cool timing and a very cool pressure that you can do when playing this exact strategy right here. So I'm gonna be playing it quite a bunch more. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you haven't already, hit the like button. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button as well. And I want to thank you guys all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, and I'll see you in the next one.